Isn't it insane to think that some truly amazing historical finds were found by accident? From the shocking discovery of the Dead Sea Scrolls to the awe-inspiring discovery of Machu Picchu, we invite you to join us on an exciting journey through time as we explore the 20 most amazing archaeological finds ever made. We will tell you the fascinating stories behind these amazing finds and the mysterious things they tell us about old civilizations. Number 20. The Library of Alexandria. The first place we're going is one of the most famous libraries in history. This place is like Hogwarts from a long time ago, but instead of magic spells, people would find scrolls. These books and scrolls had a lot of power. In 2004, archaeologists from Egypt and Poland found what they thought were the Library of Alexandria's ruins. It sent shockwaves through the field of history when this was found. You see, the Library of Alexandria was more than just a nice-looking building with mahogany shelves. It stood for all the information in the ancient world. Some people did go there just to read a book alone in a spot. But that wasn't the only thing people did there. It was also a place where smart people and educators could gather. Inside its walls, people shared ideas, gave lectures, and had discussions. Ptolemy ruled Egypt for a long time, and they were very interested in collecting and preserving all the world's information. Any book that came into their port was taken, and copies were made for their own use. There was a different world where even nerds could be mean. People say that the library had the most important old books, such as works by Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle. This fairy tale for book lovers had a sad ending, though. A lot of scholars say that Julius Caesar was mostly to blame for destroying the library. Some people think it was destroyed by a roaring fire, but the real reason is still a tragedy that will be remembered for a long time. Number 19. Frozen Siberian mummies. You may not know this, but Siberia is home to both beautiful tigers and frozen mummies. People who lived on the Siberian steppe more than 2,000 years ago were called Scythians, and these mummies are from that time. There is an amazing amount of preservation in these preserved bodies. They look like they died not long ago. The harsh climate didn't bother these warriors at all, and they were so determined that not even the most experienced gladiator could beat them. It was in 2003 that a group of Russian researchers working in the Altai Mountains in southern Siberia found the amazing frozen Siberian mummies. Researchers were able to learn more about the Scythian way of life by looking into their food, clothes, and weapons after making this important discovery. They even found proof of early surgeries done on battlefields, like trepanning, which is when holes are drilled in the skull to release pressure. It looks like these fighters couldn't have done without their sharp knives and steady hands. But it's very important to remember to take your medicine at the right time. One of the most interesting things about this find is that a dead fighter was buried with all of his weapons and armor still in one piece. Were they killed in a fight, or did they kill him as part of a ritual? We can add to the puzzle the fact that he was buried with 2 women, one of whom may have been a shaman. Number 18. Ancient Mayan Temple, Tikal. This fascinating historical place, an old Mayan city in what is now Guatemala, looks a lot like a theme park. There are beautiful palaces, monuments, and old churches there that will make you want more. It used to be one of the most important towns in the Mayan world, with more than 100,000 people living there. There are a lot of pyramids and temples all over the city. They were built with natural materials like sandstone and stucco, which adds to their stunning beauty. With their bright colors and intricate carvings and sculptures, they make a site that can compete with the best art shows. That's not all that this city has to offer, though. Things only get better from here. In particular, Tikal takes urban planning to a whole new level. By carefully planning its buildings and plazas, the city made the best use of its resources and space, making it easier to get around and better at managing water. Some people might wonder why the Mayans built their city in a place that is so dangerous and full of jungle. When it comes to animals, Tikal is a wildlife lover's dream, with a wide range of animals, such as jaguars, toucans, and snakes. It's interesting to think about how the Mayans interacted with these animals. Did they have jaguars as personal security, Or did they just hope the snakes would stay away from their sandals? The saddest and most interesting thing about Tikal might be how it fell apart. The city was suddenly left empty in the 10th century AD, leaving us with unsolved questions about why it died. Number 17. The Acropolis of Athens. Acropolis, which is sometimes called the crown jewel of Greece, is a ruin where tourists from all over the world come to take pictures and learn about Greek culture. This famous site was built during the Golden Age of Athens, a time of great wealth and artistic progress. Its history goes back to the 5th century BC. The Acropolis was the center of religious and intellectual life in Athens. It was home to many temples, including the famous Parthenon. One amazing thing about the Acropolis is how much pure white Pentelic marble, which comes from just a few miles away, is used in it. The ancient Greeks thought this marble was very beautiful and could last a very long time. It was known for being very pure and having fine grains. The most famous building on the Acropolis is the Parthenon, which shows how good the ancient Greeks were at harmony and balance. The Parthenon has 46 columns, and each one is 34 feet tall and weighs more than 50 tons. The columns are perfectly spaced and angled, making it look like the building is perfectly straight from any angle. Even though it has been through a lot, the Acropolis is still standing. It shows how creative and determined the old Greeks were. Number 16. The Lost of Petra. This old city had been written about in history books, but no one had been able to find it. But in 1812, a Swiss adventurer named Jean-Louis Burckhardt showed up. He looked a lot like Indiana Jones, but bigger. He was determined to find Petra, and after a long search, he finally found the city's entrance by accident. And what a beautiful place it was. The history of Petra goes back to 7000 BC. Around 300 BC, the Nabateans, an Arab nomadic group, are thought to have settled there. This city was a major trading hub that focused on business and wealth. When you walk down its streets, which are lined with beautiful buildings and carvings, you can see why it's so appealing. Traders and merchants from all over the world would have been drawn to these traits. As you walk through Petra, you will see the remains of a city that used to be very busy. There is a theater, churches, tombs, and even an amphitheater that can hold up to 7,000 people in the city. But what really makes Petra stand out is how well it has been preserved. The city is still incredibly well preserved, even though it is thousands of years old. Walking through its old streets and taking in the views of its tall buildings doesn't make you feel like you're in a museum. Number 15. Machu Picchu. Are you ready for an amazing adventure? Join us on a trip to the famous Machu Picchu, the beautiful land of the Incas. Let's learn more about Hiram Bingham, the person who found Machu Picchu again in 1911. He must have been channeling his inner Lara Croft because he found this lost city so easily. Because this place is so amazing, we are so thankful that he found it. Let us now get down to the basics. Machu Picchu was built by the Inca Empire when it was at the height of its power, around 1400. This city, which is on top of a mountain, is famous for its amazing building feats, such as its terraced platforms and complex water management system. Machu Picchu's mystery, on the other hand, is what really draws us to it. For example, it's still not clear what the city is for. Was it a military base, a royal home, or a holy place? There are so many options that they keep us interested. Another important thing to remember is the stunning view from the top of Machu Picchu. The lush greenery, tumbling rivers, and endless mountain ranges that go on for miles make it look like a picture postcard come to life. Of course, we can't forget that there are llamas around. This cute four-legged animal walks around the city like it's theirs. One of the 7 wonders of the world, Machu Picchu, has a good reason for being there. Number 14. Gobekli Tepe. With its huge megaliths and mysterious history, this old site is a real wonder to see. If you want to know what a megalith is, it's just a fancy word for a big, old stone. The megaliths at Gobekli Tepe are really huge. With roots going back to 10,000 BCE, Gobekli Tepe is one of the oldest examples of a large building in the world. It was built before almost everything you can think of. Even the famous Egyptian and Stonehenge buildings, which are known as the giants of the ancient world. With its beautifully cut stones set up in a way that takes your breath away, this city is like a fine wine of history. People are so amazing that they've even started a fan club to honor them. This is even more impressive when you consider that the builders of ancient times did all of this without using current tools. Can you picture finding this kind of site for the first time? The team of experts from Istanbul University and the University of Chicago must have been thrilled to find this amazing piece of history buried deep underground. Also, the fact that the place was abandoned after being used for about 1,500 years brings up some interesting questions. Big rocks were buried and the place was not cleaned up. Even though we don't know why, the finding of Gobekli Tepe has made us rethink what we thought our ancient ancestors could do and how smart they were. Number 13. Spanish Stonehenge. You are about to be amazed as I tell you an exciting story of adventure and discovery. During 2019, a very bad drought hit the Extremadura area of Spain. This caused the discovery of the Dolmen de Guadalperal, which is also known as the Spanish Stonehenge. Amazingly, this underwater wonder is over 7,000 years old and has an amazing collection of 100 solid stones, some of which are 6 feet tall. One of the most amazing things about this spot is how perfectly the stones are placed. There's no doubt that the builders had a deep knowledge of geometry and math. The stones are carefully set up to make a pattern of geometric shapes, such as squares and triangles. In addition, they are set up in a circle, and some of them even make an archway that would make any experienced builder jealous. The exact purpose of these stones is still a secret, but it is thought that they were used in some kind of religious or ritual activity. The Dolmen de Guadalperal is just as amazing and mysterious as the one in Britain, even though it is not as well known. Number 12. The Serapeum of Alexandria. It might not be easy to say the name Serapeum of Alexandria, but the place itself will leave you speechless. Let's go back in time to 1850, when Auguste Mariette, a French archaeologist, found the Serapeum of Alexandria by accident. With its tall columns and detailed carvings, this beautiful complex, which covers more than 30,000 square meters, would have amazed any archaeologist. But what really shocked Mariette was that this temple was also a place for bulls to be buried underground. Bulls? Yes. People who worshipped Serapis thought that these animals held the key to the future, or they might have just really liked their beef. Even though it all seems silly, the engineering feats that went into building the Serapeum can't be ignored. Ancient engineers were very smart because they built a network of underground tubes lined with huge granite sarcophagus that weigh over 70 tons each. There's still more to learn about the Serapeum. Researchers are still trying to figure out why these holy bulls were buried in such a fancy way, even though the site has been studied for more than 100 years. Others think they stood for fertility and renewal, while others think they were spiritual aspects of the god Apis. It's like an interesting conspiracy idea, but this time it's about holy cows. Number 11. The Dead Sea Scrolls. Just saying its name makes me think of something mysterious and interesting, as if it holds the secrets of a long-ago time. In 1947, a Bedouin shepherd was taking care of his flock in the Judean desert when he found a prize that would change the course of history forever. Not many people knew that these simple goats had the spirit of brave travelers. The scrolls were found inside big clay jars. These old writings, which were in Hebrew, were more than 1,000 years older than any Bible books that are known to exist. They included many languages, such as Hebrew, Aramaic, and Greek. Their roots went back to the time of the Second Temple, which lasted from 538 BC to 70 AD. They had religious texts, hymns, prayers, and stories of history inside them. They are seen by scholars as one of the most important discoveries of the 20th century. But the Dead Sea Scrolls are important for a lot more than just how old they are and what they say. They have changed the way we think about how Judaism and Christianity developed over time and shed light on the religious beliefs and behaviors of that time. Understanding these old texts has given us a new perspective, shedding new light on the roots of these religions. So, let's toast the Bedouin shepherd with a glass of holy water for the chance meeting that led to this amazing insight. Number 10. Cave of Altamira. As we dig deeper into history, we come across a cave that isn't like any other cave. It's the famous Altamira cave. Imagine finding a cave full of Paleolithic drawings that are so well preserved that they look like they were drawn by a child. They are so much better than Michelangelo's Sistine Chapel. This cave is in northern Spain and has more than 270 drawings made with charcoal and colored pencils. The paintings show beautiful animals like bison, horses, and human hands. The Upper Paleolithic time, about 35,000 years ago, is when these amazing drawings were made. In 1985, UNESCO did the right thing by making the cave a World Heritage Site, recognizing its immense importance as an irreplaceable record of how people lived in the Stone Age. The art found in Altamira Cave is seen as one of the most important discoveries in the history of ancient art. It's been compared to the Mona Lisa of cave art. Who knows what other mysterious things this cave might be hiding? Maybe there is a hidden stash of old paintbrushes, just ready to be found. Number 9. Sutton Hoo. Have you ever heard of Sutton, which has the most beautiful historical site in all of England? Think about this situation. It's 1939, and a woman named Edith Pretty just bought the Sutton estate. She had no idea that she had hit gold. At some point, she hires Basil Brown, a neighborhood archaeologist, to help her with some digging. All of a sudden, he hits something solid. It's not just a rock or a root. It's the grave of a ship. It really did happen. A ship was buried. Because of this, they start digging and find a huge ship buried deep in the ground. There is truly a treasure chest fit for a king inside this vessel. They find the remains of a king or queen, along with a lot of expensive things. There are lots of gold coins, metal dishes, and valuable stones. You might compare it to finding the Anglo-Saxon version of Tiffany's treasure box by accident. The items found include a helmet with such beautiful decorations that even Lady Gaga would want one. The gold, garnets, and even a face mask on this hat make it look like it was made before face masks became popular. Historians are very sure that Sutton was where the Wulfings, East Anglia's famous royal family, were buried. They say they are descended directly from the god Woden, and their story is a very important part of Anglo-Saxon mythology. Imagine being able to trace your family tree back to a god. We're sorry, but there are no written records to help us learn more about their story. Sutton, where the curse is as real as a Kardashian wedding, and the prize is as beautiful as a drag queen. Number 9. Sutton Hoo. Have you ever heard of Sutton, which has the most beautiful historical site in all of England? Think about this situation. It's 1939, and a woman named Edith Pretty just bought the Sutton estate. She had no idea that she had hit gold. At some point, she hires Basil Brown, a neighborhood archaeologist, to help her with some digging. All of a sudden, he hits something solid. It's not just a rock or a root, it's the grave of a ship. It really did happen. A ship was buried. Because of this, they start digging and find a huge ship buried deep in the ground. There is truly a treasure chest fit for a king inside this vessel. They find the remains of a king or queen, along with a lot of expensive things. There are lots of gold coins, metal dishes, and valuable stones. You might compare it to finding the Anglo-Saxon version of Tiffany's treasure box by accident. The items found include a helmet with such beautiful decorations that even Lady Gaga would want one. The gold, garnets, and even a face mask on this hat make it look like it was made before face masks became popular. Historians are very sure that Sutton was where the Wulfings, East Anglia's famous royal family, were buried. They say they are descended directly from the god Woden, and their story is a very important part of Anglo-Saxon mythology. Imagine being able to trace your family tree back to a god. We're sorry, but there are no written records to help us learn more about their story. Sutton, where the curse is as real as a Kardashian wedding and the prize is as beautiful as a drag queen. Number 8. Angkor Wat. When it was first built in the 12th century, during the rule of King Suryavarman II, the temple was a Hindu temple for the god Vishnu. People love it so much and often compare it to the famous actress Meryl Streep in terms of how important it is as a holy landmark. A lot of praise and admiration have been shown for this temple. It's interesting that a French scientist helped make it possible. But over time, Buddhists made changes to the temple that turned it into the building we see today. This change showed how the Khmer people, who were a mix of Hindu and Buddhist cultures, felt about their religion. The temple building is very big. It covers more than 400 acres and has 3 levels, each of which represents a different heavenly realm in Buddhist thought. The detailed carvings in the stone are one of the most amazing things about Angkor Wat. These carvings show a wide range of subjects, from Hindu and Buddhist myths to scenes from everyday life in Cambodia in the past. It's like a huge history book carved out of stone that tells the story of a society that did well more than 800 years ago. It's no surprise that this amazing natural wonder makes the Cambodian people very proud. Number 7. Knossos. It may sound like Disneyland from a long time ago, but instead of Mickey Mouse, you'll find minotaurs and mysterious ruins. During the Bronze Age, Knossos, also called the city that time forgot, was the center of the Minoan culture that grew on the island of Crete. With a past that goes back to 7000 BC, it is the original ancient city that still stands. Notably, the hobby archaeologist Minos Kalokairinos made a huge find when he accidentally came across the palace complex of Knossos in 1878. This building, which has 1,300 rooms with elaborate decorations, probably housed the most powerful and wealthy people of that time. Also, the mysterious baked clay slabs with writings on them that we still don't know what they mean seem to challenge and entice us to figure them out. The real highlight, though, is the rite where people jump over bulls. It's an amazing ritual that is also a unique extreme sport. At this event, brave young men and women would jump over the back of a bull to show how strong and brave they were. It's like the worlds of Game of Thrones and Indiana Jones came together to make a beautiful old palace complex on the island of Crete. Number 6. Hal Saflieni Hypogeum. We are about to go deep into the weird world of the Hal Saflieni Hypogeum. Construction workers in Paola, Malta, found a Neolithic underground structure while digging cisterns in the Hal Saflieni Hypogeum in 1902. This fascinating story has its roots in that year. They found burial artifacts, human remains, and a complicated network of chambers linked to each other on different levels deep underground. They got chills when they heard what they heard. The Hypogeum has 3 floors, and each one was carefully carved out of the soft limestone bedrock. The oldest level is at the bottom, which dates back to about 3600 BC. The newest level is at the top, which was built around 2500 BC. That whole complex was a holy place for ceremonies and funerals, and many people were buried there over the course of several hundred years. It's beautiful to look at the rooms themselves, with their smooth walls that waver and curve like soft waves. The sounds inside the Hypogeum are just as amazing. There are rumors that this place has perfect acoustic resonance, which has led some to think that it was used for sacred ceremonies where people sang and played music. That being said, the Hypogeum is not without its secrets. One of the most puzzling mysteries is why the building doesn't have any windows or chimneys, but the air inside stays clean and fresh. Some theories say that the Hypogeum got air through pipes that haven't been found yet, which makes the whole thing even more mysterious. That being said, if you're brave enough, grab a lamp and some sturdy shoes and head into the mysterious depths of the House of Saflieni Hypogeum. Number 5. Borobudur. Sir Thomas Stamford Raffles found one of the most beautiful and largest Buddhist temples in 1814. Its stunning architecture still amazes tourists today. This temple, which was built in the 9th century, is a true wonder with its 72 open-work stupas and stunning design that combines Indonesian and Indian styles so well. You can feel like you've gone back in time when you walk into this temple. Religion and faith were important parts of everyday life back then. That being said, this isn't just any temple with fancy designs. It is also a holy place where Buddhists from all over the world come to pray. Also, don't forget about the monkeys that still live on the temple grounds of Borobudur. They keep visitors entertained and tell us of the temple's exciting past. We are going on a trip to ancient China today to see the Terracotta Warriors, which is one of the most amazing finds of our time. Imagine that it is the year 210 BC and Emperor Qin Shi Huang has just died. In any case, this is not a normal death. Not at all. This is the death of a man who was determined to take his army with him to the next world. And how does one make that happen? By making an army of 8,000 clay troops that are the size of real people. In 1974, some farmers were working in their fields when they found the Terracotta Warriors, which were a hidden prize. These soldiers are not just any army. They look just like the city of Xi'an. Emperor Qin Shi Huang made his own little city underground, complete with clay horses, troops, and even chariots. There's more, though. Years ago, people said that this tomb has more to it than meets the eye. Some people think that there is a river of mercury that flows through the tomb. A story says that Emperor Qin Shi Huang's tomb is surrounded by rivers of liquid mercury, which the Chinese thought could make people live forever. Despite these rumors, the Terracotta Warriors are a tribute to the amazing engineering skills of the time they were made. Number 4. Lalibela churches. No less than the mummies in the Lalibela buildings are where history and the dead meet. These mummies are not scary. They are just as well known as the massive churches, but you can't help but wonder if they might scare you. There is a story that these mummies are the preserved bodies of Ethiopian kings who ruled the country in the past. The fact that these kings' preserved bodies are covered in expensive gold crowns and jewelry shows how much they loved luxury. Some myths and secrets say that angels visited King Lalibela in his dreams and told him to build these huge churches. He really believed what God told him, so he built not 1, not 2, but 11 churches. This kind of commitment is truly amazing. Each church has its own style, with beautiful decorations and art that takes your breath away. The churches are also linked by a system of tunnels and walkways that make it easy for tourists to see all of them. These churches are not like other buildings. They are carved out of solid rock. Because you can cut a church out of a mountain, you don't need everyday building supplies. It's like the original Guy Cave, but for monks. But it's not just the amazing architecture that makes these churches stand out. They also have tunnels used for ceremonies and a large drainage system. In the usual sense, the Lalibela churches were not found. They have been known to and used by Ethiopian Orthodox Christians for hundreds of years. Still, these buildings became famous around the world in the 20th century, when scholars and archaeologists studied and wrote about how beautiful they were. Number 3. Chichen Itza. In 1841, John Lloyd and Frederick Catherwood found Chichen Itza. It's no surprise that this Mayan city has fascinated people all over the world ever since. But what makes it different? To begin, its sheer size is amazing. The huge temples and towers would make even the great Kali shake in his boots. Besides that, the architectural types here are truly amazing. All of the buildings in the complex are beautiful to look at, from the simple designs of the early Maya to the more complicated ones made by the later Toltecs. That's not all, though. The city has a temple of the warriors that stands tall and strong among a group of 1,000 columns. That's right, 1,000 columns. The courtyard of this temple is very large and is surrounded by pillars and statues of soldiers. Do not forget the beautiful ball court, which is the biggest and best preserved in Mesoamerica. The people of Chichen Itza looked like they had a great time. Because of how important it is, Chichen Itza was named a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 1988. The Mexican government now takes great care to keep and protect it. Number 2, the city of Pompeii. In 79 AD, Mount Vesuvius showed its anger at the famous city of Pompeii. The city was destroyed by this terrible volcanic eruption. Its streets and buildings were buried under layers of ash, and they are now just a faraway memory. Things were going well, but fate had a very different plan. Many years went by, and Pompeii stayed hidden, unaltered by the passing of time. Then, in the 18th century, there was a very important reconsideration. It was like this old Roman city came back to life from the ashes, telling the world all of its secrets once more. You can only imagine how shocked the people who found the preserved remains frozen in time must have been. The streets, homes, and public areas of Pompeii were so well kept that they gave us a glimpse into the daily lives of the people who lived there long ago. It turned into a treasure trove of history that interested historians and sparked the thoughts of people who were just plain curious. The ruins of Pompeii, with their beautiful mosaics, well-preserved frescoes, and other artifacts from a very advanced society, have fascinated scholars and helped connect the past and present. Their silent stones hold stories of tragedy and victory, love and loss. They are a powerful reminder of how powerful nature is. Today, people come to Pompeii from all over the world to walk in the steps of the Romans and see for themselves how strong a city lost in time can be. Its history still fascinates us, telling us of how fragile life is and how the spirit of a civilization can live on even after a volcano erupts. Number 1, Tutankhamun's tomb. We now have King Tutankhamun's tomb, which is the most amazing tomb in history and his only sleeping place. First, do you remember the part of the movie Aladdin where he finds the Cave of Wonders by accident? Think of that, but on a bigger level. King Tut's tomb is a real treasure hunter's dream, with beautiful golden sarcophagi and stunning jewelry. As we walk through the twisting hallways, we can't believe how fancy everything is. Every inch of the walls is covered with priceless artifacts, elaborate carvings, and exact hieroglyphics. It's enough to make your head spin. And just when we think we've seen everything, we get to the pièce de résistance, King Tutankhamun's tomb. People are almost waiting for the king to wake up from his eternal sleep and meet us, but it might be better if we don't bother him.